Hi, this is Scott with eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at and installing our Firestone airbag kit for our 2021 Toyota Tacoma. Our Firestone airbag setup is going to be really nice for your Tacoma. If you plan on setting it up for overlanding, or if you have it already set up for overlanding, with that extra weight on the back of it, this is going to really help level that out. Say you're getting a lot of sag in the rear end of it. This is going to help bring that back up, level it out. It's also going to help you with your handling. Say you haul a lot of heavy loads in the back, say you got a bunch of camping gear in there, or you just haul stuff for the weekend, a bunch of mulch or whatever. This is going to help get your rear end lifted up a little bit more and stabilize the load that you have in your vehicle as well. The way we have our setup today, we can change our pressures on either side. So we have one for our driver's side or our passenger side. So we can change the pressures and even out our loads that way with that. Another way you can have these set up is you can have an onboard compressor system where you can set everything from the comfort of the front seat of your vehicle. You'll have a control module where you can set everything up there. You can also have this set up where both of your bags operate at the same pressure. You can set these up where you have a T in your line and run them both to the same pressure. Our Firestone airbags are going to be rated from 5 to 100 PSI, so they really have a really wide range of flexibility there with that. Installation is pretty straightforward and has everything in the kit. Stick around and watch our video and we'll show you how to get these installed. To start our installation, we did end up taking down our spare tire just to get that out of the way. That's just going to help us give a little more room so you guys can see what we're doing. What we're going to need to start doing is we're going to get our bump stop out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my multi-tool, and it is rubber, so I'm just going to cut it as low as I can get it and get that out of the way. We'll go ahead and start that now. After we got our bump stop cut off, what we need to do is take our plate and make sure that we're sitting flat on both sides of our springs, and we are in this case, so we did get it low enough. So now we can start putting our bags together. Now we have our airbag assembly. What we're gonna do is build a lot of this right out here on the bench. So as you can see, we have our hole in the bottom of our airbag, and we have this hole here. We're gonna want those to go together. So we have our bolt with some thread sealant on it. We're just going to bring these two together loosely for now. Just get it together finger tight for now. Okay. Now we're going to orientate our brackets. We want to make sure this portion of our bag is to the part of the bracket that's sticking out. This bracket is going to go on top. It's going to have a bigger hole and a smaller hole. We're going to have our orientating nodule right there. We're going to get those put together like that. Now we'll just take our supplied lock nut, nylock nut, and we'll get it started in place. Now we'll take our 15/16 socket and we'll just get this tightened down a ways. We want to make sure we keep our bracket in its keeper there. I think what we'll do with this one, with this bracket, is going to end up going here like this, and this part will be on the inside of the frame. What I'll do is I'll just get a couple of them started, these outside ones. Now keep in mind, on the passenger side, you're going to have a heat shield that goes over your bag. You want to make sure you have that in place before you get this built out and know the orientation of where your heat shield is going to go. Or when you get it under there, just leave that side loose, this nut loose, so you can move your plate around, your heat shield around, and then you can retighten this down. Now we'll get our assembly setting up into place. Just want to set it on top of our spring. And may have to maneuver this a little bit to get it to go in place. Swing it under. Now we have our assembly sitting in place. We will grab the rest of our hardware and we'll get ready to bolt it into place. Now I'll drop all of our supplied bolts through to the square part of our mount. Do this all the way around. Now we'll take our brackets and get those installed. Just want to put them up onto our carriage bolts. You may have to push down on the top of your carriage bolt. Just want to get these started, finger tight. Now we'll get the rest of our hardware for our upper bracket in place. We're just going to pop this bolt through and just start those as well. These can be a little tricky to get to, so just take your time and have a little patience and you'll get them in there. But it can be a little tight space. One thing I'll do is I'll hold the nut against the inner bracket and I'll push it against where I can see the nut through the hole, and then I'll line the bolt up and just get it started that way, and then I can come back through with my wrench and ratchets and get them snugged up. Now that we have everything sitting where we want it, we can come back through and start snugging down our hardware. What I'm going to do here is just push down on the top of our carriage bolt and just run the nut up to a point. I'll do the same with this side, and I'm basically going to alternate. Making sure our bracket doesn't move a little bit, get it to come back down flat. Now we can come around the front and we'll get it snugged down. Now that we have our bag sitting where we want it and we like the way everything looks here, what I'm going to do is just torque down our lower bolt that goes into the bottom of our bag. I'm just going to follow my torque specs in our instruction manual and just get that torque down real quick, and we're good to go there. Now I'll come back through and I'll do our lower carriage bolts and nuts. What I'll do is I'll alternate back and forth torquing these down to the specs in our instruction manual. I'll just go back and forth with these, alternating, making sure we keep everything going together flat. Now we need to snug down our bolts that go through our upper bracket. So just want to make sure we have everything where we want it. And I usually use a 9/16 wrench, a stubby back behind it. And just go ahead and get them snugged down. Now with the big hardware that comes in our kit, we're going to go with our washer on the bolt end, and we're going to go right through our frame and into our bracket on the inside of our frame. Now we'll take our large washer, large flat washer. Space is limited on this side because you have a lot of wiring harness and brackets in the way. Here's what it looks like with it hand tightened in place. We're going to come back through and get that torque down after we get some more of our hardware put in place. Now with everything torqued down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our air inlet that comes in the kit, and it does have its thread sealant already on it. So I'm going to thread it right on top of our bolt that goes through the top of our bag. Now we have our air inlet tightened down. We want to get it down pretty tight. I don't like to go really too tight with them. I'd like to be able to get it just good and snug so we don't snap them off or have any issues with that. We do have the thread sealant on there, so that's going to help. Now we'll come back through and finish up our other brackets, and we'll come back through and torque everything down. Now we have this little bracket is going to go on the outside of our frame, and it's going to go right down into this pocket facing this way out. And it's going to meet up with our bracket. We're just going to get our hardware through it and get it started. It is going to be very hard to see. You may not be able to see it, But we're just going to take our hardware and no washers or anything and just thread it into place. Now we can see how our bracket sits down in this pouch. What it's going to do is just bolt through right here, and it's just going to basically be a support on top of this pocket. Now we have the large bolt and nut tight. We have our air line in place and everything is torqued down. Just want to follow the same procedures on this other side. The only thing that's different is going to be this heat shield, and you're just going to want to put that where it's going to shield so you're not going to have a bunch of heat on your bag from your exhaust. Now we have our air valve assembly all put together, and we got that down nice and tight. And we're just going to use this L bracket and get our valves put in place. Should be fairly accessible really easily where we have it now. We're just going to run both of our straps that come with our kit through the mount itself, and we'll get those pulled tight. Now we just need to get our air lines pulled out, and we'll pull them out even. Then we can walk it back up. Found our middle. Take our line cutter tool, get it in place, and cut our line. Now we'll come through and clean up all of our ends. We want to make sure they are nice and level all the way across. Nice and straight all the way across. You want a clean end, and we'll do that on all of our ends. Now I'll get these lines run, and we'll show you how we got them all hooked up. Now what we did is we just pushed our line into our inlet here on the top of our bag. When you do start these in, you have to push pretty hard. You'll push it in there and you'll start feeling a little resistance. Push it a little harder and then it will click into place. We just ran it up through, and we ran it through holes in our frame. Up here we tied off to our harness in both of these locations here, and what we did is just looped up above. You want to leave a little bit of extra. You don't really want to cut any of that off. I leave it up here just in case you have to trim any off. If you end up with any leaks, you have some extra to run with. And we ran it down here and pushed it into place where we have our air inlets. Now we'll get some air in our bags and we'll check for leaks. Now what we'll do is we'll take a little bit of soapy water and we'll spray on all of our fittings, and we're looking for any big bubbles or any kind of bubbles that'll start to develop. And with everything torqued down and we have no leaks in our bags or our fittings, that'll do it for our installation of our Firestone airbags on our 2021 Toyota Tacoma.